going on today, guys? Today we're gonna go over a new ZT. It's a mail call from the Yojimbo 2 video. We're gonna do the unboxing of this guy. I know I kept it a secret from the Yojimbo 2 video and kind of stretched it into two. Didn't want to do a reveal on both knives in one. Let's get right into the ZT. And also real quick, thanks to all you guys. I just hit over 100 subscribers. Which I know isn't like a landmark, but for me it is. Appreciate all you guys and all the channels who've helped me along the way. You know, the ones that I basically name in every single video. Thank you guys so much for all your help and support. Let's get into it. So, the Yojimbo 2 and this ZT I got in a combo deal from Steven. I won't list his last name. And it is the 0460 Sinkovich. I'm gonna do the unboxing. I'll have my face on now, but then, you know, I'm gonna change the camera angle so you guys can see it up close. This is a pretty cool knife. This is something different. It's not something that I would normally use. You can see the painting clothes and, you know, like the Rat 1 or the Endura. You know, those are my style, like work knives, even like a pair of 3. You know, those are my work knives that I don't mind beating up. I'm actually going to be getting into a little bit different work knives, like some more hard use. You know, I'll use that for work basically, and then this will be just like a fun carry. You know, if the wife and I go on a date or something, this will be what I would take. I'm not going to take this to work just because I know I'll get paint all over it and it'll just be a mess. So this is going to be one that, you know, that I take care of. Not that I won't use it, but you know, I won't hard use it, that's for sure. It's not really made for that. Alright. This is definitely a different knife for me. Something I'm not used to. This handle shape, the way that it's like arched. The sweep of the blade, it's a small blade, it's not a very tall blade. You know, the height of it is short. It has like a harpoonish feel, but also almost feels like a fillet knife, kind of. Let's get you guys in closer. So here you can see it. I can get all 4 fingers on it. It actually feels a lot like a Delica handle, but the back here is swept up a little bit more than a Delica, and also like the arch of the handle, I think gives it doesn't feel like it's cramped, I guess is the best way to say it. This does have a really interesting carbon fiber show scale. It is titanium and carbon fiber. It has a black backspacer. It has like a sort of like a weave pattern on the handle here where it's contoured, but the pattern here almost looks like a snake, or like it reminds me of like a rattlesnake, the black and brown that they have on their skin. And it is an S35VN blade. I'm curious to see how this thing is going to perform. I've never been a huge fan of S35VN. I've said it a bunch of times in my videos. I've always had like softer S35VN. So I'm curious to see how the ZT is going to perform. You know, not that I'm going to do like crazy hard use stuff with it, but I was thinking about maybe comparing this S35VN with Wii's S35VN in a cardboard test or something, but I'm not sure if I want to take this channel into the testing route. And I don't know that I could devote enough time to doing testing. The action on this thing is stupid good. It feels like it's assisted. Now, the first time that I felt it, I wanted to push button it, but it actually felt a little too stiff, and then I just kind of moved my finger, and I mean, it just like flies out as soon as you pull back. You can push button it, but I prefer to light switch it, just because that's kind of what works best for this, but you can do it either way. I mean, it can be push button too. I don't know if you guys were able to see that, but so that was a push button. The drop on it is pretty easy. The thing is it's a really light blade, so you know, it doesn't take 2 shakes and it's down. I'm close to the table, so I don't want to hit the table. I'm trying to get this all in frame for you guys. And then once you get it past the detent, it just shuts. The detent is really good on this. Not crazy about the pocket clip. I kind of wish they didn't put branding here, and I wish they didn't write 0 tolerance, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. And then they also wrote, you know, on the blade itself, 0 tolerance. They've always been that kind of company that, you know, in your face branding, like 0 tolerance, ZT on the blade here, on the pocket clip right here, it says, you know, 0460 Kai USA, Sinkovich Design, serial dot 20011, and then S35VN is right there on the blade. Steven did put a really polished edge, the guy that I got this from. This is secondhand, but it was basically new in box. He carried it. I don't think he even carried it, or maybe he carried it but didn't use it. There's no marks on this thing at all. He did a good job sharpening it. The only thing is he didn't get all the way back to the heel of the knife, and the same issue was with the Yojimbo. I think he uses a wicked edge, because wicked edge can be tricky to get all the way back sometimes. You know, depending on the angle that you use. If you're using just like those sliding forward motions and you're not going up at the heel, you can have those issues, and that's why I prefer the Hapstone K1 or like a KME or even an Edge Pro. You can get back the back of the heel a little bit easier, but the easiest way to do it is freehand. Well, caveat, freehand is probably the hardest way to sharpen, just because you have to have more skill, but once you know how to do it, it's easier to get back to the heel. You have more control. You know, it's more aesthetic than useful, I guess. Or you know, I'm more of a function over form. I like a nice looking knife, but I want the knife to have purpose. And this is kind of more aesthetic over purpose, but it's still a gorgeous knife. And this is the knife is saber ground, so it has a flat grind, but it doesn't, you know, it's not a full flat grind. It does stop up here, so you can clamp it. You can clamp it in like a KME or a Hapstone. For the Edge Pro, it might be a little bit more difficult because you don't have much here to sit the knife on, but there's ways around it. It does have a steel insert for the lock bar, since it's titanium. I really like the milling that they did on this titanium. It's really nicely detailed. See if this camera can pick it up. You should be able to see right there. It's got a diagonal milling pattern, but they contoured it the same way that they did with the carbon fiber here. So when you grab it, there's no sharpness to this handle here. I like that they didn't put a lot of screws too. It's got a big pivot. ZT kind of always has like this type pivot, just like the domed black pivot, but I think it would have been nice for them to use something smaller, especially that they use, they're not using a big Torx screw. So actually, let me just do a quick size comparison with I actually just put this thing back together, and I messed with the spring for the lock bar, and the lockup is so much better. It had a little bit of lock rock when I first did it. Yeah, now it's not moving at all. The Endura is obviously going to be bigger. The Endura is a big knife. It's just shy of 9 inches. Like 8.5 inches. And then the 0460 is just over 7 inches. It's like just under 7.5, 7 3/8 inches, or about there. The blade length on this guy is just over 3 inches, about 3.5 inches, and the actual cutting edge is about 3.25 inches. Do the obligatory Ontario rat number 1. Same thing as the Endura. It's about 1.25 inches or so bigger, maybe 1.5 inches. This is the regrind rat 1 that I have. I have to redo the polish on it. I beat the piss out of this thing, so it's got some deep scratches, but I gotta put it back on the grinder, and I think I'm actually gonna thin the sweep of the blade a little bit more. Back here it's thin, but up here it's not as thin. I want to get it just a little bit thinner from about here to the tip. Benchmade Griptilian. This is the full size, and it's only about 1/2 inch longer than the ZT0460. So not much of a difference. The handles are actually very similar. The Griptilian's maybe about 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch longer, 3/8 inch longer. So you actually get, I think, more cutting edge on the Sinkovich, or on the ZT 0460 than you do on the Griptilian. So this little knife is packing a big punch with this much blade. It sort of reminds me of like the Mantra 1 from Spyderco, how how the blade to handle ratio is so high on this ZT. And then last but not least, we'll do a Rake P801. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that have this. And the rake is about 3/8 of an inch longer, roughly. Overall length. The handles, there's only about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch difference in the handle length. And the overall blade length is exactly the same on both knives. So you're just getting a little bit more handle on the rake. Yeah, I think the blades are exactly the same. Let's see, cutting edge is, yeah, it's the same on both. Maybe like a 1/16 of an inch bigger on the rake, but very, very close. I love this rake pito one. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the ZT0460 Sinkovich design knife. It's a beauty. I'm not sure that it's not my style knife, but I'm going to give it a shot, to say the least. So that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for coming along. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.